And joining me from Iran right now is Ali Akbar Dareni, who's a researcher at the Center for Strategic Studies. Of course, Lenny remains with me on this special broadcast to talk about what is Iran likely to do and what would Israel's response be, because this is an issue that's being talked about virtually in every home, whether here in Israel or in Iran or perhaps across the world. But this is something that will have a massive impact, not just in this region, but globally. This will have a huge impact. And Ali Akbar Dareni, if I may, what's the thinking in Iran right now? Those 181 missile strikes in Israel, that actually has Iran directly into this conflict. So far, Israel said Iran's been fighting through its proxies, through the Houthis, through the Hamas, through the Hezbollah, through the Shia militia in Iran, in Syria, and in Iraq. But now Iran is directly involved. What will Iran do if there's a strike back by Israel?
Iran is prepared for the worst scenario. Israel knows no red lines. It has no moral limitations in carrying out crimes against humanity. Look at what it has done in Gaza: genocide, ethnic cleansing. So Iran is prepared for any possible Israeli attack. Iran will not tolerate even a symbolic attack on its territory. So if Israel is going to attack any part of Iran, whether it's going to be military installations, economic infrastructure, or nuclear facilities, Iran will react accordingly. It has prepared the responses already. So it will depend on the nature and extent of the Israeli action. If it passes through Iranian air defense systems, I have been told that Iran has prepared a detailed plan on how to impose costs on Israel to make it regret.
Let me for a moment take this now to Lenny. A guest from Iran, Ali Akbar Dareni, says that Iran has a counter-strike plan ready. It depends on where Israel strikes, whether it's the oil facilities or the nuclear research center or the command and control structure. Accordingly, Iran will respond. Do you see this as a massive escalation across this region now?
I think this has to be done. This has to be done. We have to respond. We have to respond, and we have to show them that they cannot do whatever they want with Israel. Israel is strong enough. Israel can respond, and Israel will respond. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how. That is left to our leaders to decide. But we will respond in a way that they will be very, very, very sorry for what they did. As our Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, they made a very, very big mistake. And I hope that the people of Iran will feel free from this regime that is now in power over there.
But what I want to understand from you, so far you were targeting the proxies, but the fact, you as in the country, so far Israel was targeting the proxies. The killing of Ismail Haniyeh in the presidential palace compound, of course, Israel hasn't officially taken responsibility. That drew Iran into this conflict. The killing of Hassan Nasrallah, Iran thought it had to respond. Now, if Israel were to respond, wouldn't it lead to a massive escalation and put this entire region in jeopardy, in harm's way?
Anytime you do something, there is a responder. See what we respond to. Nasrallah or Haniyeh. Haniyeh, I'm not saying, I don't know who did Haniyeh. I don't know. Maybe some other from the moon, somebody came and did it. I don't know who did it, but I think it's a very, very right thing to do. Wherever it's done, I think that any murderer that murders women and children and elderly people, he shouldn't be alive. He should be killed, wherever. And if someone from Mars came and did it, I'm very happy that they did it.
But, isn't there a due legal process, a law process that should be followed?
When the minute the terrorists will follow the law, we'll also follow the same law. I think Israel is following too much international law at the moment. We are following international law and the terrorists aren't. They're targeting civilians all the time for years and years and years. They've been targeting civilians all over in Sderot, in the north of Israel, in Haifa, everywhere. They just target civilians. And even don't try to evict civilians from there.
Let me take this to Ali Akbar Dareni once again. Ali Akbar Dareni, you heard what what our analyst here Lenny had to say, that in case there is a strike back by Iran, there will be a massive response. There will be a massive response from Israel. Now, will this not lead to a spiral and escalation? So, who's on top of this escalation ladder?
Iran is relying on itself. Iran is pursuing self-help. So Iran has made itself prepared for a counterattack in case Israel engages in adventurism. But let me first get back to the spokesman's rhetoric. He is not in a position to describe Iran. Israel repeatedly said that it has no enmity with the Palestinians, but it is at war with Hamas. But it has massacred 42,000 people in Gaza, in the same way that it is massacring Lebanese people, but it claims that it is war with Hezbollah. It's the same with Iran. These psychological war is not going to work. But Iran, it depends on whether the United States is going to fall in Netanyahu's trap of being dragged into a war. If Iran's nuclear facilities are attacked, it will strengthen the position of those who want Iran to finish the job and pull out of the NPT and weaponize its nuclear program. If it is going to attack Iran's economic infrastructure, Iran will retaliate. Iran demonstrated its political will and its military capability by pinpointing Nevatim Air Base and other targets. The next time it can target Israel's economic infrastructure and will make Israel pay a very heavy price. So but Iran will not accept a vertical war. It will go for a horizontal war. Vertical war is between two parties, but horizontal war, in a horizontal war, you expand the geography of the war. And if that is going to happen, the world's security and the world economy is going to suffer greatly. At the end of the day, why should we need a world if Iran is not safe in it?
Let me take this to Lenny once again, and let me get a response. Our guest from Iran says that when Iran targeted Israel, it was just a Nevatim air base or places from where aircraft had been launched to target the Hezbollah or Ismail or other organizations. However, they claim, or Iran claims, that when Israel targets people, let's say Hamas, 40,000 odd people have been killed in Gaza. A large number of civilians have also been killed in Lebanon.
Well, let's separate between the things. First of all, when Iran targeted Israel, they maybe aimed at something, or maybe they told their people that they're aiming at military bases, but they don't know where the military bases are. And they, of course, they're not so good at what they're doing, so they missed. Maybe fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, there was one person killed in this latest Iranian attack. It was very sorry for them. It was an Arab Palestinian in Jericho that he was from Gaza, and he was the only one person that was killed by the Iranian missiles. So, I'm not sure if they were aiming at military camps or military bases. Maybe that is what they give themselves as a cover story, but that is not true. Now, unlike that, and an opposite of 180 degrees, exactly the opposite. What Israel does, Israel for decades informs houses in Gaza before they shoot at them, before they bomb them. We bomb only targets that are that we have proof that they are being used for terrorists. We only shoot at places that are hiding weapons and that are used by the terrorists.
The situation on ground, however, and Iran, the apprehension is that instead of this becoming a war between Israel and Iran, there may be other Islamic countries that may get involved. Is that an apprehension in the minds of people in Israel, whether countries like maybe the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia or Jordan or Egypt or Turkey or Turkey, they get involved?
Maybe Iran would like to get them involved. We are not involving anyone with this, but maybe some other countries that also don't like the Iranian regime might be helping us. I don't know about it, but these are rumors that I hear, and maybe Iran will have something to do with them, like Iran has in the past bombed targets in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Very, very interesting, Lenny, for joining me here on
Thank you
India
very much.
Today. Many, many
you very
thanks. So, what you seem to be seeing in this conflict is a very interesting cat and mouse game that's on. There are very interesting mind games that are being played at multiple levels. So, while you have a war that's on ground, there's a war that's being fought in the skies. With, of course, Israel having complete air supremacy when it comes to countries like Lebanon, but at the same time, Iran using its missiles to attempt and target Israel, even though the multi-level protection here, the Iron Dome, the David Sling, the Arrow 2, the Arrow 3 missile defense system, the Patriot missiles, and beyond them, the fighter jets of Israeli Air Force, flanked by fighter jets of the US Air Force, countering those incoming missiles on that day. Well, there are some who also say that the Americans had given a major head start and advance notice and warning to Israel that the ballistic missiles were being prepared for launch, in a way helping Israel counter them even better. But is this war now likely to escalate altogether at a new level?